Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Candidates Forum 2017 for Wyandotte County. Tonight we have the candidates for the Board of Trustees of Kansas City, Kansas Community College. Our panelists who will be asking the questions include Mary Rupert from the Wyandotte Daily Online, Jim Eccles, a management consultant, and Daniel Silva from the Chamber of Commerce. Candidates will first provide a 2-minute introduction, and we'll start. Well, should have been 2. The first candidate will be Evelyn Criswell. Evelyn?
Thank you, Merle. My name is Evelyn Criswell, and I will be an excellent trustee. Let me give you some reasons why. 20 years business and finance experience. I have success and expertise and advocacy in some major areas I think will be very important to you as community members. Those areas are key programming, competitive positioning, sustainability, fundraising, financial stewardship, and aligning the college with community priorities. Within key programming, we need to increase and improve the key programs here at the college to align with employer needs, particularly in the area of technology, areas such as biomed, healthcare information technology, the list goes on and on. I will work as your trustee to ensure that our students, our community, and our college plays a major role in those technical pipelines. We need to also understand our competitive position in the community college marketplace. I will work as your trustee to ensure that we continue our research to understand what the best practices are of KCKCC as compared with other successful community colleges. Now, as far as sustainability is concerned, we need to make sure that we have an understanding of our sustainability position. And as your trustee, I know, as well as you as community members know, that in the future we may not have enough money to sustain ourselves. So as your trustee, I will work with the board and the foundation to build out a robust private donor and alumni database, and we will put the programming in place to support it. So we will take fundraising from being an effort that raises, say, $100,000 in a given year to being a full-fledged program that raises several $million. Now, also want to talk with you about aligning the college with community priorities, because this is a priority to me. What that means is I will be listening to you. I will seek you out because it's important for me to understand what the community's priorities are, because after all, the name community is in the college's name, and I think that's for a reason. I will be open, I will be transparent, I will be available to you. If you call me, I will call you back. So in summary, the reason I'm asking for your vote this evening is that I believe that I have success and expertise and will be an excellent trustee and advocate for key programming, competitive positioning, sustainability, financial stewardship, fundraising, and aligning the college with community priorities. Thank you so much.
Okay. Our next candidate will be Linda Sutton. Linda, your opening remarks.
Good evening. My name is Linda Hoskins Sutton. I'm a candidate for the Kansas City, Kansas Community College Board of Trustees. I am uniquely qualified to serve on this Board of Trustees because I've retired from this community college with 30 years of service. I worked in financial services, continuing education and community services, student services, and adjunct faculty. I am running for the Board of Trustees because I think I can use my expertise and knowledge to serve this college. Having worked with students, faculty, staff, and administration, I've been on the inside. And being on the inside, I can bring a different perspective to the Board of Trustees that can help all of the trustees. My campaign slogan is Sutton for Students First, because I believe before any decisions are made about this college or policies that we should look at the impact of it and see how it will affect our students. Also, I want the college along with the Wyandotte County School Districts and the community to collaborate to see how we can improve the college readiness for K through 12. Because until Wyandotte County improves the education do a better job educating our children, then we will not realize our potential. I am still and always will be an ambassador for this community and for this college. Even as a retiree, I have people ask me things about the college. I am a native of Mississippi, but I am a dot by choice for 37 years. I'm a past member of the Women's Chamber of Commerce, a past board member of the Greater Kansas City International, of the Greater Kansas City People to People International. My formal education includes a Associates of Business from Northwest Mississippi Community College, a business administration from Baker University. For over 30 years, I was able to come to work here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College and give my very best because I was working for the students and with the students. As a member of the Board of Trustees, I will do the same for you. I will work my very best to do the best for this college because this college is a passion of mine. I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Leslie Smith. Leslie?
Good evening. My name is Leslie Smith, and I'm also running for a seat with the Board of Trustees for the community college. I have lived in Kansas City my entire life. I've attended the Kansas City, Kansas public schools. I've worked with youth, young adults, and even senior citizens. I've had a passion to help others in our community, and just by listening to the concerns, it's just a passion to want to help others. I would like to promote the importance of education. I would like to rejuvenate the atmosphere of our social programs and increase student participation. Having a listening ear for our students, it would be a positive impact. I can encourage and empower the youth and let them know that their needs will be met and we are listening. But it is okay if they have any questions just to speak up and ask those questions, because sometimes students need help. Just promoting and building those relationships with students will be a primary concern of mine. My motto is focused on our future because our students are our future. I would also like to overall just improve the academic achievement for our students. Thank you.
Our next candidate will be Tom Irvin. Tom?
I guess I don't need to introduce myself because a gentleman to my left I've known for years. I'm a trans dot, as is my friend here. Believe it or not, we both came from Independence, Missouri, and found out we went to the same high school. Small world. Like her, I'm a trans dot. I graduated from Pittsburgh State University, being a proud gorilla. Moved here in 1967. Been here ever since. I ran for city council the same time Carol Marinovich did, and God bless her, she ended up becoming mayor, and look where we are now. I was a member of the KCK Police Department for 7 years, and I remember patrolling out west where the Legends and the racetrack were, and it was plowed ground. We were getting very little, if any, tax money, and I had friends from the Missouri side that said, well, you live in the armpit of Kansas. And I said, not anymore. In the community college, and I want to stress community, we have a gem here, a diamond. I don't think it's been fully utilized. Our campus police is woefully shorthanded. This is for the protection of the many, many, many students that go to school here, plus the many, many facility usage by the community, of which there is a lot. There's something going on here all the time. I'm a little winded because I was in bed most of the afternoon. I wasn't sure I was going to make it. And one of the things I would like to see is better signage to figure out how in the hell to get to a building, how to drive on the right side of the road. Unbelievable. I don't know if anybody else had any problem with me, but thank goodness for the police department of this college, who have a very good friend who's an officer here, and one other officer that pointed out how I got here. One of the other things that the previous president closed the child care facility because it wasn't making any money. Well, it wasn't here to make money. It was here to take care of the kids for students who are mothers that need to have a place for their kids for daycare, and also the faculty who may have children. I would like to see that looked at to be reopened. I know there were jobs contracted out that were poorly done, and then instead of finding somebody to get it done properly, the same contractor was rehired. I don't think it was fiscally, which is monetarily run properly, and that needs to be a key thing for whoever the new board members are. We have a lot of out-of-state students. I would like to see possibly the dormitory situation expanded. We have great sports facilities. We have great sports teams. And I'm proud to say, hey, our Blue Devils do pretty darn good. In fact, the baseball team was playing tonight on a beautiful field. Probably one of the best in the community colleges in the state of Kansas and even Missouri. Like to see or make sure that we have an expansion of the availability when our students leave after an associate's degree, if they would like to go further, and make sure they can go to any four-year university in Kansas and have everything transferred, which I know at one time they weren't able to. Now that's a sad state of affairs when you spend your money and can't use the classes that you attended. That's sad. I may not be the best candidate, I'm sure everybody up here is, and we all feel the same or we wouldn't be running, is we want to do something better for our community. That's why I'm here. I've been trying to work within our community for a long time. I've owned 2 small businesses, and finally I decided it was time to retire. As one matures in life, I don't like to use the word old, but mature sounds a lot better. I thought, well, I'm sitting on my rear too long. I wanted to do something to give back to the community I've fallen in love with. And I like it here. We have great people. And that's what it boils down to, is the people in our community. And I want to make sure that I do the best that I can for the community, which I love dearly. That's about, I think I ran over my time, Merle.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Thank you all for coming.
Our next candidate is Jan McIntyre. Jan?
Hi there. I want to welcome everyone, and I want to thank you for putting this together. This is an important thing to do. I am seriously committed to the college, but not the microphone. I don't know I think this one's too close to that one. Let's put that one here. I retired after 33 years. I ran first semester student classes and programs, and in that position, I learned all kinds of evaluation, program direction. My students did all kinds of college career development also. So I'm pretty familiar with what kinds of programs make success. And I was also, had the opportunity to sit on a number of boards of professional organizations that lead in research for college success and how you get students up and organized and where they need to go. My plank is for student success first, student support services, and community connections. After I retired after 33 years, and we call this encoring, right? Not that you're old and crusty. And I became a yoga instructor and came back as the yoga instructor over at the Wellness and Fitness Center. Once folks heard I was on campus again, I got into the workforce development, started doing some career things with students, helping them with resumes, workshops downstairs, doing all kinds of things for our World of Work Week. I also helped to found the American Association of University chapter here at KCKCC. I've written grants and I've done a lot of fundraising, so I'm connected with the students, and currently I am teaching also at our Leavenworth campus. I've also taught at Harmon High School. In other words, after retirement, I have just been all over KCKCC. I feel like I know it well. I also feel like I'm academically prepared. I have a PhD in adult ed, curriculum and instruction. I also know how to make successful programs, how to promote and support people who are in those positions to help those students. John Rouge, who has run a community college research for a long time at the University of Texas, says that the best thing you can do is get the best people, get the best programs, and advocate for them. As a board member, I am in a position, I will have to give up the yoga, I'll have to give up the tutoring, I will give it all up, but I will be in a position where I can advocate for successful programs, and I know how to advocate for students in an organizational structure that will make everyone successful. And I'm very proud of KCKCC. I'm very proud of students semester to semester. Our motto for years has been making life better, and I believe it and I'm committed to it.
Thank you, Jan.
Very nice.
Our next candidate is Crystal Watson.
Good evening. I am currently president and CEO of the Heartland Black Chamber of Commerce. And I know all too well what it takes to be creative, resourceful, to have a background of experience that enables us to reach specific markets within our community. The number one thing that I do in my job is I partner and I connect and I build relationships for a stronger community through partnerships. The one thing that you will get out of me is I will be able to advocate on behalf of the college, build bridges with government, local government, state government, and federal government. I can help build bridges within the community itself, with our neighborhood groups, with USD 500, Kansas Public Schools. As a former elected official and having had the wonderful privilege of serving on that board, I bring to the table some experience just in dealing with board governance in that aspect. So for me, this is hometown. I'm a mother of 4 sons. And just the last meet and greet, I want to thank the student council for inviting us. They had a meet and greet and it was phenomenal. And I went over and talked to some of the students, and you know, it's nice to know that, oh, I'm Crystal Watson, but they looked at me like, you're Alan's mom, you're BJ's mom, we know you, you're Neil's mom. And so that goes a long way. That for me tells me that in some aspect they can relate to me because of who my children are, but I can relate to them because I have children who are almost grown, and I know what it's like for them to be in college. I've been a former student here at KCKCC Community College, so I know my way around. So for me, this is almost like coming home, and it's a part of my home. So I hope that you look at me as a person that can help bring not only the business aspect of what I do. I am around corporate, small business, I mentioned government, other nonprofit organizations that can bring to the table a wealth of information and resources to the college. But more importantly, the public policy part of, and policy part of what boards are responsible for, I have that experience in doing. And I understand the role of what it takes for a board member and how important it is that those board members work together, that they be cohesive and that they're on the same page. And I think that with the changes that are coming with the current board, you're gonna have a whole new board. You're gonna have 3 or 4 positions of new people on that board. And you already have 2 that have just joined the board from recent life changes. So for me to come at this point in time allows us to come in fresh and to come with some new perspectives on how we can continue to build the mission of this college and do it in a way that not only builds our students, but it builds our community.
Thank you. Now we'll move to questions. The first questions will come from Mary Rupert with the Wyandotte Daily Online.
Thank you very much. I am wondering, what is your opinion of the current financial allocations for community colleges from the state of Kansas? And a second part of the question, should the Child Care Center and program be reinstated at the community college?
Okay, we'll start with Evelyn Criswell.
Thank you. As far as the state of Kansas allocations are concerned, I think it's important to somewhat broaden the picture on that, in that whether we have allocations from the state of Kansas, whether we have allocations from county property tax dollars, state and federal aid, whether we receive money from anywhere, I think the key for me and my focus will be as your trustee to ensure that we manage it effectively. So for me, that means excellent financial stewardship. Now, the second part of the question, I believe, was related to the child care, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. As your trustee, I am opposed to anything that creates barriers for students. And because we no longer have a child care program here at the college, it has created yet another barrier. So I will work with the trustees so that we can continue our research to get an understanding of what are these successful community colleges doing in order to operate successful daycare programs. And right now in the state of Kansas, there are at least 5 community colleges operating successful daycare programs and have been doing so for over 10 years. So I want to dig into that and make sure that we can get an understanding of how we can bring some of that successful spirit and successful results here to KCKCC. Thank you.
Linda Sutton.
I think regarding the finances, we will also have to look within and see what we can do to improve our financial situation. And if there's, I know when we had Dr. Burke, he would go to Topeka and do some lobbying regarding finances. So I think we need someone from the college to continue in that capacity, the president, our next president, to go and talk about the funding, because I don't think we've been talking about the funding as much anymore. And regarding the Child Care Center, having been here for many years and seeing the impact that that had on students, yes, I will work with our Board of Trustees to do whatever we can do to ensure that that Child Care Center is reinstated. In fact, as I was starting to run, I had a community member say, oh my goodness, I don't know what my daughter is going to do. She was going to start the nursing program, but for nursing, I don't know if you know, you have to go full-time. There's no part-time. It's a daytime program. You have to go and do clinicals, and so you need that Child Care Center. And for that reason, I know we have many people in the community who were dependent on that child care center. So as I had mentioned at an earlier forum, and the gentleman mentioned today, that it was never designed to make money. Having worked in the business office and the fees coming into the business office, it was always supplemented. It wasn't designed because students can't afford to pay the full amount and go to school. They're students. So we have to find some way to supplement that. Thank you.
Leslie Smith?
I would like to see the state of Kansas provide those resources available to keep the college, the funding coming in at because it's been a decrease, but we need to brainstorm and be creative on those allocations, and because there are resources out there. As far as the child care, me being a single mom, I've had struggles with the child care, so that would be a positive impact on students. That's just one less thing that they would have to worry about is child care. They would be able to attend classes, and thank you.
Tom Erb?
Well, I think you know my position on the child care. It needs to be reopened, and I think every member of the panel here, candidates, all agree. When it comes to funding, we all know how Kansas has done our educational system. I'd like to be very graphic about it, but I'm in mixed company, and it's not polite to say what I'm thinking. So, as a possible member of the Board of Trustees, we have to make sure that the money that we have is used properly. Not the way I've seen or heard that it was used previously, and I'm thinking, what is wrong with this situation? One of the things I brought up was the lack of officers on departments, so our officers have to work overtime. Well, overtime costs money, which would be better spent on having more officers. And there are 2 officers in the room tonight, and I think they would agree with me. So it's not just one thing, it's a multitude. And if I'm elected, I can't promise what we're going to do because it's pie in the sky. We just have to do our best as we can to get it done properly. And that's the key. I look at the other candidates up here, and I'd be proud to serve with any one of them because I think they're all qualified and very able to do a good job. So, and I applaud them for even sitting here running as a candidate for a Board of Trustee member of what I consider a heck of a community college. Okay, I'll wrap it, Merle.
Okay, thank you. Jan McIntyre?
Yes, I'm concerned about state funding in the state of Kansas, and I think it's very important that we not only educate folks about the vote, get them organized, and support those lobbying groups that are looking out. I know the Kansas Association of School Board Members is a serious advocate. I know District 500 is a serious advocate, but we need to look at the college investment in the future. We are not throwing away money here. We are giving the experiences that promote and project students into their future. And the Child Care Center, that was the thing that motivated, I'm sorry, I'm buzzing. That was the thing that motivated me to run. I was here when we established that, and it was an active group of the Community College Association women who advocated with other community college groups across the metropolitan area. There was grant writing involved, and I do believe that we can take advantage of grant funding to help support our college in a more comprehensive way, and the Child Care Center is just one of them. I'm so committed to that Child Care Center. I volunteered and I'm on the committee. And so I am willing to go to work and see how rapidly we can get that done. And I would like to make a compliment to our acting interim president, Jackie Vanetti, who is doing an excellent job. She has come forward, she's provided leadership in many different areas, and I can feel that we are turning over a new leaf at KCKCC. We're a grand place, but we can be grander.
Crystal, what?
Very good.
Well, I do know over the last 5 years, there's been a huge deficit in terms of state allocations for community colleges. And I'm not sure what the real percentage of that is. I remember knowing, serving on the Board of Education, how that impacted our K-5 through 12, 12th grade. The same was very impactful for community colleges. So the state could do, and we all know, a much better job of doing that. I think in light of that, I think that the board and the leadership have done an excellent job in the use of those funds and tried to make use as much as possible. When it comes to the child care, I will say this: I'm a firm believer in the child care. In all fairness to the board and the leadership, there are reasons for why things happen the way they do. And I think it would be unfair for me to try to say they should have kept it or not without really knowing what all the details are about why the child care closed and what the plans are. I'm pretty confident that the board may already have plans and how they're going to either reestablish it or come up with something better. But I do believe that we care, the college does care about childcare and about the students and the use of that facilities to support the children of our students. And for that reason, I think that while it's unfortunate that the child care facility is not operable, that doesn't mean that things won't change for the better.
Thank you. Now we'll move to our next panelist, Jim Eccles, who is a management consultant, and he will ask questions and start with Crystal Watson. Jim?
Okay, my question is, I understand that the KCKCC Technical Center offers some very worthwhile vocational certification programs. And I visited there, but there appears to be a lack of community interest in enrolling and taking advantage of those programs. Some of them 6 months to a year certification can prepare for a very good wage and earning capability. Why do you think there's such a lack of enrollment or involvement on the part of the public?
I think it is partly due to our lack, our inability to market. We need to market what is available for the students at the Technical Center. I've been to the Tech Center too. Wonderful automation program. They've got the cosmetology. There's electrical programming, construction. When you talk about, Mr. Earp talked about a diamond in the rough, there's a lot going on, positive things going on at the Technical Center that needs to be really broadcast throughout the region. So I think that the community is just not aware. And we could do a better job in how we communicate what is offered to our students. And we need to help change the perceptions of the college itself. Some students think that, I might still be like going to another high school, and it's not. And I think that if we work on what that looks like and how productive students can be, we've got some of the best, one of the best nursing programs in the country. So I think it boils down to marketing. How do we market? How do we tell our story? How do we share what a great place it is to go to, particularly the Technical Education Center, and how it can benefit you and change their careers or even enhance their careers or look forward to a better career. So I think the one thing we could do is we're not marketing, and that lack of marketing prevents people from really knowing what there is to offer through the Technical Center.
Jan McIntyre.
Okay, I worked down at the Tech Center in an administrative English program, and I had a delightful time, so I'm pretty familiar with that. Currently, I have the special joy of being up at the Leavenworth campus where the chefs come out and give me samples every day at 10:30 to 11. I believe, I agree with Crystal, we do need marketing, and research says that to really get these students on board, we need assertive and, I hate to say this, aggressive recruitment. We need to reach out and get those students and give them a plan for their lives. And I think the more career development that we put into that, the more the students will feel like they are in the right place at the right time. And I don't want anyone who is in a VOTEC program to feel they are limited to that. I want them to see the additional possibilities, the career ladder possibilities. I actually had my hair done by one of our graduates, and I said, "So you're done with college, huh?" And she goes, "Well, I keep thinking I need to go back, but I need to know what for." And I said, "I think there's a business degree in your future. Wouldn't you like to be up the ladder in terms of distributing all those beauty products, running management on that, and still having time to do what you want to do best?" And so I think I recruited the last time I got my hair cut. So I think it takes active recruitment, and I think there needs, I can see where there could be a really good career development program, including career mentors, more internships, more job shadowing, getting those students into that work environment, getting the fire within the student, the excitement of finding out who you are and where you can go.
Tom Irvin.
As I said, I went to and graduated from Pittsburgh State University, which is now the technological university of the state of Kansas. When I went there back many, many years ago, we had auto tech, and it was just kind of an afterthought. There's a huge facility down there that covers a myriad of different items, and those students are sought out by major, major companies and corporations. I agree, we need to promote our technological center. It's on Facebook, and every time there's a post on Facebook showing another thing that is being available, I'm amazed. I really am, because people do not know about it. I get my hair cut there, and by the way, it cost me $5 plus tip, which is very, very reasonable. And whether it's a new student starting out down there or somebody that's almost ready to graduate, I've never had a bad haircut. Of course, when your hair gets a little thinner, like mine's getting, it's a lot easier to cut. But I think we all agree we need to promote the technological center. I do. I'm very proud of it. I look back at some of my fraternity brothers of the fraternity I started at Pitt State back in 1965. I graduated with a degree in business administration. And the ones that graduated from the technological center down at Pitt State, God, they're making a lot more money than I ever thought I could, being a college graduate in business. We have a need for people to be trained because there are no crafts anymore being trained. And that is the thing that we need to promote. We've got a great facility down there. I remember when it was Woolco and the strip centers they built, and God forbid that they didn't tear it down, or most of it. And community college took it over, and look at the facility we have down there now, which is a beautiful facility run by our community college. It's our community college. We need to promote it more. I'd like to see that done. As Ms. Watson said, and I said, we have a gem here, a diamond. A little more polish, and we're gonna shine just like it came off the shelves of Tiffany's in New York. Thank you.
Leslie Smith.
I would agree, like everyone else said, we need to promote the programs at the technical school, and I would like to see success stories from prior students sharing their what they've been through and how they've been successful in the program, and I think that would help, that would inform the community, and then maybe we could have more a higher enrollment in those programs, but marketing and promoting will be key to have a successful program.
Linda Sutton.
You know, the Tech Center was first a part of District 500, and because of some legislative changes, they all across the state of Kansas had to merge with community colleges, and the one here was one of the last ones to merge, and they merged with us, and I think there still has been some growing pains from that, and I know some of the programs there are doing very, very well and have a waiting list. So I would be interested to find out which programs are lacking in the enrollment and perhaps do some target marketing to those specific programs. Or maybe the enrollment is down because there isn't an interest in those programs, but I know for some programs there are a waiting list. So perhaps taking a look at those programs that are struggling with enrollment, because that's what we do here for credit classes. We do an analysis and see, all right, if students aren't enrolled in these classes, maybe it is time to do something different. So if we have programs down there at the Tech Center, and by the way, it is a very, very nice facility, state of the art. If you have not been there, please go and check it out. But if there are programs down there that are struggling, and I'm really surprised to hear that because so many do have a waiting list, then let's find out specifically what programs are lacking in enrollment and target that. What do we need to do for those specific programs to see whether or not we can make them become a success?
Evelyn Criswell.
Thank you. As I talked about a little earlier in our conversation this evening, I talked a little bit about key programming, and that being one of the things that I will advocate for as your trustee. We need to make sure, as trustees, that we push for the college to, can you hear me okay? Oh, sorry, okay. We need to push as trustees for the college to increase and improve the key programs here at the college, to align with employer needs. Right now, there are employers in technology fields that are hiring for jobs that some students have never even heard of. Some jobs haven't even been created yet, and yet they're moving in that direction. Industries such as biomed, healthcare information technology, informatics, nursing informatics, wind turbine repair, agriculture sciences, just to name a few. And if you talk about the computerized automotive mechanic technician industry, we'll just go ahead and talk about them specifically. Right now, in the next 5 years, the prediction of technician shortfall is 25,000. That's 25,000 jobs. So I think it makes sense to align with what employers are needing and will need in the future. That's just one example. Now, they're saying that if the industry doesn't solve that shortfall, consumers may wait days, maybe even weeks to get their cars repaired. BMW is responding to that. They are actively recruiting right now in technical schools and community colleges, just like KCKCC. And Ford and General Motors say that over the next 5 years, they will need 15,000 new technicians. So as your trustee, I will push to ensure that our students, our college, and our community plays a major role in those technical pipelines. And in addition to the marketing piece, we will bring about the key programs that are aligned with employer needs, and we will take our bridge programs and turn them into a superhighway of fully funded successes. Thank you.
Our next panelist will be Daniel Silva, who is with the Chamber of Commerce. Daniel?
Yes, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Great segue into my question. I'd like to hear from the candidates. What are some new and creative ways that you feel the community college can partner with the business community? I'd like to all to, and maybe perhaps you can expand on yours when you answer.
We'll start with Evelyn Criswell. Evelyn?
Sure, thank you. I think that with our expansion, if you will, and partnering with the business community, I think it's really, really important to understand what type of support programs we either have in place or will put in place, particularly in the area of fundraising, because it's one thing to have a chicken dinner, it's another thing to have a fun campaign, but when you're talking about partnering with communities, community or businesses per se, or even businesses outside the community, it's important to have, for example, a fundraising program that is in place, not just an effort or a campaign that raises $100,000, but I'm talking about a full-fledged program that has the personnel and the infrastructure in place so that it is able and equipped to reach the business community, to have those conversations, to have those formal interactions with the business community and those who might be potential donors or potential endowment folks. So it's not just one answer, but it's really about evolving to that type of programming that I see, and that's what I see as a trustee, and that's what I'll be pushing towards. Thank you.
Linda Sutton?
For me, when we talk about the partnerships with the businesses, because I've already been here at the college and I know some of the struggles and the issues that the business world has with us, and that our students come, even for just hiring out at the Legends, that our students don't tend to have the soft skills or the skills that they need to be employable. So that's why I go back to what I said earlier about we've got to do a better job of educating our children from the school district, and that means the community, the college, and the school district works together. And I didn't say it in my opening statement, and I had intended to say it, is that we just can't rely on the teachers, and it's not just the responsibility of the teachers in District 500 to educate our children. We as a community have to step up and help educate our children. Until Wyandotte County is going to produce the type of leaders and students that we want coming up for the future, we've got to work together, because too many of them are coming to college and can't read at a college level. So until we address that, it's going to be, in my opinion, harder to move forward. To move this whole community further, we've got to do a better job of educating our children, working with the business. What does the business sector need? And once we do that, I think we can really move this community further. Thank you.
Leslie Smith?
Being creative and communicating with our business partners and the community will be very important, just to encourage our students to know that there are businesses out there that they could not just shop at, but they could work there, and they can volunteer, and just to promote really that partnership with our community. We have a lot of students that that just don't know, and so just to get the information to communicate with the community will be, I think, good for the college. Thank you.
Tom Irv?
Well, as I said, I'm a firm believer in our technological center. Every time I find out what program we have down there, I'm going, really? I didn't know that. And I'm amazed of the different programs, and nobody knows about them, and that is the key. Maybe we need a point person hired at the community college to advocate and let people know what we're doing. More items on Facebook, which seems to be a big thing. God, even I'm on it, and I'm internet schlep. It's a nice Jewish word if you know what I mean. And We need to promote it. Sitting in a classroom in these buildings on the main campus, it's just a part. And we're already short-handed of craftsmen, and so anybody that graduates from a tech center like we have here that nobody really knows that much about, you make a darn good living. Anybody have trouble beginning of the summer getting your air conditioner working? You call an air conditioner man, does he come out in a drop of a hat? No, it might take several days. All the same thing in the winter when your furnace isn't working. Or a plumber. Or a small engine repair. Welding. Major appliances. All these are done down there, and that doesn't count the auto division, which does motors, dents, reconstruction, painting. And there's also a building down adjacent for fire protection that I didn't even know was there. So, and I live here. We need to promote our tech center because it's a great facility and people just don't know about it. And many kids coming out of high school, and that's a key, they don't know. They really don't want to sit in a classroom and read more books and have a teacher tell them how to study and then take their stuff home like we did when we went to high school. They want to use their hands. If they use their hands, they're learning, and they know that they're going to be able to do something instead of being out in the streets getting in trouble. And we can all see across the country where that's leading us. We have a major problem. Get these kids from high school into this tech center. So working with USD 500 would be a key part of that. Get these kids into something that they can use and make a good living, and then they can take that back to their family and friends. We need to promote our tech center. I wish I'd gone to the tech center at Pitt State. I'd have been a little better off retired than I am now, I'll guarantee you. Thank you.
Jan McIntyre.
Yes, I can think of a number of creative ways. First off, though, I want to brag about Wyandotte County and KCKCC's part in Wyandotte County. I'm sure you all read the editorial October 10th about celebrating progress in Wyandotte County. I think we move in on progress, and I think we partnership. I think we develop more opportunities, and if elected, I will advocate for policies that engage students, connect up with communities, sponsor internships, sponsor mentoring, sponsor career coaches, having developed career ladders. Those are the kinds of things that we know that work. I would also like to say that we have underserved communities where we need to go out and actively recruit. We have high schools, and there are models where community colleges can go out with career development and begin that process of fitting students into a career ladder that works for them. And you know, it's awfully important to get a student into an environment where they may possibly be working early at the beginning. I am so glad that when I was at Van Horn, I went up to the hospital to see about being a nurse, and I realized they drew blood. They did things with blood, and that did not work for me. And I'm certainly glad I discovered that when I was 16, you know? So I think it's important that students have opportunities. We have promoted here at KCKCC doing a lot of curriculum development within the content areas. So for example, there are a number of us who believe that it is fine and dandy for students to write career papers. And I encourage people to go out, call up people, look at jobs, see where you are and get them organized. I believe that learning communities can be developed in certain business areas, and we can have these learning community business area boards. I think we have the structure and some models for partnerships, but I believe, and I will advocate for advancing that and keeping an ear to how Wyandotte County is progressing and plugging our curriculum and the excitement of student learning into that progress, because student learning is exciting. Nobody talks about that, but it is.
Crystal Watson.
I think to answer your question, you asked, what are some new and creative ways to partner with business? So the college and business. So one thing I was thinking, at the chamber, the college is a member of the chamber, and we do like different networking events. And at our networking events, members can come, any professional can come, and one of them is with Scripps Media. And Scripps Media has 38 The Spot, KSHB 41, and Bounce TV. And Bounce TV is an African-American network. So when we talk about promoting, I have to make a correction in that the college began to start promoting through Bounce Television, and they have seen an increase in enrollment. And I don't know what the percentage is. I want to say about 10% increase, but they've only been doing this advertisement for about a year. So 2 years. So with that said, I think a great idea would be, what if there was a promotional commercial that shows some of your businesses in your chamber where students, went through some type of certification program, or they graduated in a certain, field area, and they end up being hired with one of the businesses within your membership. Wouldn't that be something cool to see in a commercial, how, wow, they got this education and they're off to this great career with this business? I think that is a kind of a creative way of telling a story of how the college and business work together and how we're creating this pathway for students to be successful. So that's just one creative idea I came up with. I don't know. What about you? What ideas do you have?
Very good.
Thank you. Go to our next panelist, Mary Rupert with Wyandotte Online, and her next question.
Thank you very much. What qualities would you be looking for in a new KCKCC president?
And we'll start with Crystal Watson.
Well, first of all, I definitely would want us to see a new candidate or president to have integrity. I think that's probably one of the strongest characteristics I think a president can have. The second is being open and available, and listening to the concerns of the community. And when I say community, I mean the college community. Listening to the concerns of the community at large, and more importantly, listening to the concerns of the students. But I think my number one thing would be integrity and being able to balance the challenges of a new environment, a new school, new issues, new concerns. I think another characteristic I really hope, they're fun. I can say a whole lot of other things that are probably more profound, but man, there's nothing worse than a boring, non-fun, leader. You need some fun, right? And they're not afraid to be expressive, but yet still be down to business. Those are my two strong characteristics I'd like to see in the new president.
Jan McIntyre.
All right, I think we need leadership, and I would like to say that our interim president has been doing all kinds of things. I want leadership with a connection to the community and a connection to what's going on. So for example, our current interim president came out with the supportive community college statement of defending and protecting DACA students on campus, which we feel very strongly about. She also offered scholarships to hurricane victims who end up in our area. When Hurricane Katrina struck, we ended up having about 57 students here on campus, and I think that is a good social way to get into the community and actually help folks out. I talked to her the other day and I said, you know, everything you have done was listed on my suggested thing on my plank. I said, it's hard to run a campaign where you're doing the right thing. And she said, well, we just do the right thing. The environment has changed. There is more communication. We have revamped and we are in the process of looking at how policies are developed. We are also revamping the organizational chart. And I am having my last discussion fundraiser group tomorrow night at the Mason Jar between 4 and 6. But one of the things I have been collecting throughout the election here is a wish list of what people in the college have told me that they would like to see to improve KCKCC. Most of these people are very dedicated employees. I've worked with them and they can see how KCKCC can continue to make life better.
Tom Earth.
The previous president that we had, when I found out she came from California, I'm going, why? We don't have any qualified people in the state of Kansas? We have a bunch of state universities, not just KU and not just K-State, but we have a great 4-year university system. I'm sure there's somebody coming out of a system, say Pittsburgh, near and dear to my heart, of course, being a gorilla lover. I've got somebody in mind. Our current president, interim president, everything I've seen and heard about her, I'm amazed. God, what a difference she is from the previous one. And she came from Kansas. We're not a bunch of hicks in Kansas. We got some pretty darn smart people, pretty well educated people. I think we can look this panel here and the panel over there and the people out in the audience. You wouldn't be here if you didn't care. And you're here because you care and you're pretty darn smart and not lazy to get up and come to a function such as this. As Ms. Watson said, and I agree, we need to have somebody that cares, who knows how to work within the system. Not somebody brought from outside Kansas who has no clue what the people in Kansas are like. Missouri's got the show me attitude. Well, in Kansas, we can do it just as good, if not better. And that's the kind of person we need as our new president. Whether it's male or female, I don't care. Gender doesn't mean a thing to me. We just need somebody that cares and has the heart to do a good job and care about our community college system that we have, which is a great system. I'd like to see it grow more, and I think we can.
Okay, thank you. Leslie Smith.
I would like to see leadership, more leadership skills in the president, someone that is trustworthy and that shows accountability. And I would like to see them lead by example. And that would, those are the qualities that I'm looking for in the president. Thank you.
Linda Sutton.
I'm sure we can all agree that many of the things that have already been said, that we all agree with that: integrity, honesty, all of those are things that we all certainly want. And I would want someone who would operate with compassion and operate from a premises of love. And if you were here at the other forum, you know that my theme song was love's in need of love today. And there's so much that we can come together on if we do it in love. And so if you are a leader with love in your heart, then you're going to operate from that love and compassion for people. You can let people go, you can discipline people, but if you do it from a love aspect, it's going to be a different outturn. You should not come to work and feel as if you're going to be intimidated every day. So I want someone who has compassion, someone who can tell you where your weaknesses are, what you need to improve on, but can do it in a loving manner. You can go forward. We don't need someone who is going to be decisive and divide the college, the students, and the community. Thank you.
Evelyn Criswell.
I agree with most of what was said as far as what folks are looking for in a leader. Now, in addition to that, as a trustee, I would expect that our new leader would be courageous, specific, experienced, decisive, direct, but respectful. I think folks can be direct and still be respectful because we have some complex issues and complex challenges that we'll be facing over the next 4 years. And we need to make sure that we have the person in place who will be able to not only manage and deal with those from a not just a faculty and staff perspective, but also in dealing with the board and dealing with the community. We need someone who's solid, who has the total package, who can be a good communicator, who can be a good advocate for the college. So as a trustee, I think that it's important to make sure that whomever we pick, we take our time, that we, as a college, are decisive, we are specific and clear about what it is that we want, and that we are communicative in that we make sure that we connect with our community and we make sure that whatever decision is made, that decision is aligned also with the needs of the community. Thank you.
Now we'll turn to Jim Eccles, who will ask the next question. Jim?
Thank you. What major initiative would you become an advocate for within the college here as a member of the Board of Trustees?
And we'll start with Evelyn Criswell.
Well, I would be, as your trustee, one of my areas of expertise is financial stewardship. So let's talk a little bit about that because it's somewhat two-part. I think it starts with fundraising. And I already mentioned a little earlier that we need to make sure that we put in place a solid fundraising program. Now, it's not just about getting the money in the door. That's only half the equation. The other part of that is sound financial stewardship. So you might call that a key initiative, but that's one of the things I probably like to talk about most because I am an expert financial steward. Let me give you an example. I managed a technology infrastructure budget program, and the exercise went like this. Basically, there was an initial number that was proposed to me as the leader of the group. And then my job was to review the projects and the programs and proposals and such, vet through those, and then make decisions about which ones would be approved, and then approve those, and then come up with a final budget number. And the reason I bring this up, this example up, is because I think one of the big elephants in the room with citizens is, will my taxes go up as a result of something that the board did? You know, will the board run out of money, not be able to manage it, and then come back to the government and say, we need more money? So let's just address that. And I promise I'll answer your question, but I want to say that I'm opposed to even entertaining the idea of raising taxes because your board should be good financial stewards. They should have the business acumen that's necessary in order to manage the finances of the college effectively, because the board is the business element of the college. So with that, let me circle back around to my example. Sorry about that, a little sidebar. But as far as my financial stewardship example, the initial budget number that was proposed to me when I was managing the technology infrastructure budget program was well over $300 million. Through my leadership and through my expertise, went through and approved the worthy projects and came up with a final budget number of $230 million, nearly $100 million saved. So that's my passion. I'm about helping folks to get jobs, and I'm about managing the money. So that is my answer with respect to an initiative, or I might call it a passion, because those are the things I love to talk about when you talk about boardship. And those are some of the major things that I will bring as a board member. Thank you.
Linda Sutton.
As I mentioned earlier, our need to get our students, our children, better educate our children. So I will go back to that, because I really, truly believe in that until we improve the education of the children in Wyandotte County, we're going to struggle in many, many areas. So as an initiative, the thing I would like to see the college do is work with the school districts and the community to come up with some type of plan where we can do a better job, whether it's through mentoring. Some of our clubs and organizations here have gone to the schools and mentored children, but just making that awareness. And that in itself is a whole big issue, because there are so many underlying issues for why our students aren't getting where they need to be. It's poverty, it's hunger, there's so many things, and I know that from students coming here to the college and giving them money to get lunch, or taking them to the cafeteria to get lunch, or giving them bus fare. So there are a lot of things underlying the reason the students aren't getting the education that they need. But I think that would be something that I would be compassionate about. Well, I know it is, some type of initiative to work with the school districts so that we can improve the education of our children. Thank you.
Leslie Smith.
What I would like to advocate for our students is just the increased student participation just on campus, just really finding out why students are not participating in the programs, if it's transportation issues, if it's because they're working, just communicating with our students just to see what the barriers are, why come the participation is low at this time. And so I would just like to see increased student participation. That's what I would like to advocate for. Thank you.
Tom Erb.
Pretty broad question. But in today's world, there are a lot of broad questions. The physical, not the physical, working out, fiscal is a key thing to make sure that the money that we have coming in is not wasted and spent unwisely. Promoting the college would be a key thing. People do not know about our community college. You go to other community college like Fort Scott, Butler, what's some more, Neosho, they have dormitories. Not renting old apartment buildings. Those were built when I was on the police department, and that's been a long time ago, when I went on in 1969. We don't have the wherewithal because basically we're a big city college. So we're a commuter college. It always amazes me how many students we have coming from out of state. When I had a smoke shop down at 81st and State Avenue, here were kids coming in for the golf team, the baseball team, to get chew. Well, sports chew was the thing back then. And I was amazed. They came from the East Coast, the South, southern states, northern states. And we need to promote outside of just Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City metro area. People don't know about us. They really don't. When I say Blue Devils, oh, you mean Duke? No, not Duke. Kansas City, Kansas Community College on State Avenue. It's a great facility. So two things we need is make sure our money is used and spent wisely and not go back to the trough to beg for more money from the state or from the citizens. Because it always grated me when the mill levy would go down. Well, that'd be offset by a raise in taxes for the community college. I'm going, can it be self-sufficient for a change? So that is a key, and promoting what we have and letting people know what we've got. I don't think that's being done well enough. So that's two key points that I would look at.
Jan McIntyre.
I'm just going to read right from my plank. I want student success, student support services, and community connections. We are doing well here, but I think there are areas that we can improve, and our students keep changing their interests, the job market, so we need to have a fluid look at these student support programs, what makes student success, and develop organizations that promote community connections. I'd like to say one thing, you know, every once in a while you'll bump into somebody who kind of puts their nose in the air at community colleges, and I would like to advocate that all courses are equal and that all courses are meaningful. All courses are relevant for the right students at the right time. What we need to do is a better job of career development and even community development where we develop those opportunities. One of my proposals that I haven't had an opportunity to talk about yet is the Emerti program. We have a group of valuable retirees with expertise who can fill in and become community connectors with businesses and partnership and advocate for students in career development, supporting of shadowing, internships, and getting students into the workplace. I would also like to see us continue and extend our job fairs into not only high schools, but also into some of the current areas, the YMCAs. There are lots of community nonprofit groups where we could form additional memberships, partnerships, and reach out to students. And our average age here is what? Anybody know? Aren't we about 34 now? I believe that's our average age, 35. Demographically, we're what, 56% women now? So we are over that mark. So I think we need to continue to take a look at our demographics, see our students, see what we can do to help them and be successful for them.
Crystal Watson.
Well, in coming out to the board with that question of major initiative, I really need to know what the board's major initiatives are. Fully understand what their priorities are, because we can't be Lone Rangers coming in and we want to come in and change the world. And you got a whole team that you got to work with. But if you look at what's happening in our community and what the direction is when it comes to economic development, I think one of the major initiatives that I would promote and advocate for is entrepreneurship and innovative strategies to increase revenue within the college. The college has some great programs. Wow, their music, audio, visual stuff is off the chain. The nursing program is phenomenal. The CAD 3D printing machine. Did you all know they have a CAD 3D printing machine? Those are awesome. So I think there are some ways that we could look at that and utilize how we can increase revenue for the college. I would be a strong proponent in looking at business and how we can help them, the college can help them. So I think there's some things that we can do to work together, but when we look at entrepreneurship and the direction, and you've got all these incubators and startups, and there's some things that we can really look at, and I would be a strong proponent in working in those initiatives to meet the workforce demands and increase entrepreneurship within our community.
Our next panelist question will be Dan Silva.
Thank
Dan?
you. This question is around recruitment and retention of KCK Community College's workforce. Under your leadership, how would you best ensure that we're recruiting and retaining top candidates and quality talent from the president to the faculty to the staff on down?
And we'll start with Crystal Watson.
All right, so that's strictly a human resources question. And first of all, we fully need to have a dedicated, talented staff within human resources. One of the other things that I would particularly look at is really survey the climate of the personnel. Where the personnel is, where the gaps are, where the need is. I think we can speculate, and there's been a lot of concern and issues that have come from staff, but I would be interested to know what the board, what information that they currently have that we could look at to further retain and recruit more talented staff. I think that information gives us a platform to know what direction we need to head into, and in working with the human resource leadership to fully understand what strategies we need to put in place so that we can be successful in that area.
Jan McIntyre.
I'm a big proponent of something called shared governance that occurs in higher ed. And what that means is that when you have major institutional decisions, you've got a host of folks behind you. You're not making that decision by yourself. It may be the Human Resources Center that sets up interviews, gets questions organized, but you also have representatives from across campus to visit, interview, and meet that person and get a feel for what that person would be like. So that's what I would suggest, advocating policies that maintain a shared governance kind of potential possibilities and an organizational structure. And I do believe our current interim president has instituted these, so I think to continue to build on her strong leadership component in advocating for new hirees that will help KCKCC.
Tom Earl.
The previous president, we had a lot of turnover from instructors on down to the maintenance. You have to treat your workforce, whether the lowest job or the highest job, like they mean something. You can't mistreat them. You know, you get slapped in the face enough times, you're gonna fight back. I know the maintenance used to cut the grass, do snow plowing. They don't now. It's contracted out. You can't do that. You don't take the people that were doing a decent job, a good job, and shunt them off and hire somebody from outside. Why do that? I know at one time, I don't know if they still do, but the police units were going off campus to get gas when there are gas tanks at the maintenance center. Well, you buy in bulk, as anybody well knows, it's gonna be cheaper. So there, you know, may not be much, that's a way of saving money. You treat the people that work for you and with you like they're human beings and not just there to do your bidding. And we have too much of that today, not just here, but across the country. And I think everybody can see it. Turn on the TV, read the newspaper. And I'm old school like Jan. I like to sit and open the newspaper and read it. Not on a Kindle, not on a computer. I'm old school. I was brought up that way. Hard-headed, but old school, and I love being old school.
Okay. Leslie Smith.
To recruit staff, I would like to see a hiring fair set up over 3 to 4 days and hold interviews for those candidates who have, applicants who have the values that we're looking for, that would align with the mission of the college. And that way the recruiters can work one-on-one, they can interview and receive the information and know a little bit more about the applicants and what their desire and what they would like to see, by working here at the college. Thank you.
Linda Sutton.
I am very familiar with the shared governance that candidate McIntyre is talking about. It has worked here at the college. It seems like in the last few years we've gotten away from it. But for this institution, all the good that you hear about it, it is because of the faculty and staff that this institution has had over the years, the dedicated faculty and staff that give their heart and soul to this institution. And for us to move forward, we've lost a lot of that talent that was the basis for this institution, who would go way beyond what they needed to do for students and anyone that they could help, even in the community. So if we can get back to that, if we can get the leadership that we need for that, and I think we can accomplish some of that through the shared governance. And we want to be inclusive. We want students to come here and feel like there is someone in our administration, in our staff, and in our students, and our employees that they can relate to. So I think we need to be aware of that when we are hiring. And the tone is set at the top. And at the top, that would be us, the Board of Trustees. So if we set the tone for what we want for this institution, that whatever type of discrimination is not acceptable, that we are all for an inclusive, diverse workforce, that will make a difference. And we communicate that to the administration, and it will trickle down, but we have to set the tone that is what we want. And then we can go about trying to recruit various people who will have the best interests of this college. That's what I want. Someone who loves this institution enough to care about the students, because we want, the students are why we are here, but we've got to take care of our faculty and staff for them to do the best job. Because if you have faculty and staff that are unhappy, it's going to show up in how the students are treated. Not that the students are going to be mistreated, but if they're unhappy, it just shows up. Thank you.
Evelyn Criswell.
Thank you. I think that I heard someone talk a little bit earlier about the HR aspect of it. I think that's part of the equation when we were talking about retention and recruitment and such. But I think one of the other things that that I talked about a little earlier would be that we have to make sure that we have a very, very, very good understanding of our competitive position in the community college marketplace. So as your trustee, I will push for us to continue our research so that we understand the best practices of KCKCC as compared to the best practices of other successful community colleges. Because I think that the answer to the question is multifaceted. There isn't just one answer. I think it's going to take pieces, components, segments, if you will, of some very, very good ideas I think that we heard tonight. But there isn't one answer to that. But my approach to that would be, though, that we examine our competitive position and that we ensure that we understand what the best practices are out there so that we can start to push our college in the direction of going from pretty good to great. My vision as a trustee would be for our college to go from being pretty good to great and then strive to be the best community college in Kansas. And not to stop there, but to keep going so that someday, now keep in mind this isn't going to happen overnight, but someday we become the best community college in the country. Again, it won't happen overnight, but that's definitely something to strive for. And I think it starts with knowing where we are, what our position is in the marketplace, and what are some of the things that we could do here that maybe we're not doing, or maybe we could do better, or maybe we need to discontinue. Thank you.
Now we'll move into closing remarks, and we'll start with Evelyn Criswell. You have 1 minute.
Thank you, Merle. Well, we've had some discussion this evening, and I want to thank you, first of all, for your time, and I want to encourage you to vote for me. I know that we talked about some of the reasons why, my expertise and success, and my advocacy in key areas such as key programming, sustainability, fundraising, competitive positioning, financial stewardship, and aligning the college with community needs. I just want to thank you for listening this evening. I know that you have a decision to make about who you're going to vote for, and I would encourage you to vote for me. With that, I won't prolong this meeting any longer, but I just want to thank you again for your time. God bless.
Linda Sutton.
As I said earlier, I am running because of my love and compassion for this place. I was trying to get someone else to run, and then I realized if I am dissatisfied, I'm in this community, and if I'm dissatisfied with something that is going on at this community college, where I feel like I've grown up in a way because I worked here for 30 years, then I should step up and run. What better person could you have than someone who knows the ins and outs of the college? This institution is, I think, founded in 1923, if I saying that correctly. In all those years, this institution has only had 5 presidents. I've worked for 4 of those presidents, everyone except the very first president, Dr. Flint. Having gone through all those administrations, the knowledge that I have about this college that I can share with an incoming board, my compassion for this place, I have no special interest for my own self other than just giving back to this community, giving back to this college. Someone mentioned homecoming or something, but I've kind of stayed away from the college on my day-to-day, but when I do come back in here, there's just this rush. I feel like I have come home. I get very emotional because I'm just that compassionate about this place, having worked with students in all capacities, having students graduate, working with the graduation, and various aspects of the college. So I'm asking for your vote, someone who is dedicated, someone who can help anyone else who else is on the board. Thank you.
Leslie Smith.
I just would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and I would just ask for your vote, as I've worked in the background and behind the scenes in this community with our youth, helping students just get ready for college, helping moms complete the FAFSA. I've also helped some students with their resumes to get ready for the job market, and so I just ask for your vote. I will be committed, and I just want to communicate with the students that they can do this, they can be successful. We have the resources and tools, and just having the listening ear to communicate that to them will be very important. So again, thank you for coming tonight, and I appreciate your support and vote. Thank you.
Tom Earp.
Gonna make it short and sweet. Thank you for coming. I think any candidate up here, vote for any one of them, you're gonna have an excellent board member that will help oversee what we have here. Vote for me or not, and like I say, anybody up here would be good. So again, thank you for coming. Thank you, Merle. Thank you, panel, for being here. God bless. Get out and vote.
Jan McIntyre.
I'd like to thank everyone too. I really do appreciate your interest in the community college. Sometimes it feels like we're operating in isolation. It's wonderful to know that the community is behind us. If elected, I will work for the community. I have a Facebook handout over there on my table, along with my McIntyre for KCKCC board email at Gmail, and I will be responsive to the community. I have been passionate about this place for a long time. I feel like I have the systems understood about community colleges. I have worked, I have executive board experience, so I am not new to thinking ahead and helping organizations move forward. It all started in the classroom, moving students forward, but I'm looking forward to an opportunity to moving this college forward and this community additionally forward. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to visit with you tonight.
Crystal Watson.
Well, I too want to thank everyone for being here, and I thank the college for all the work that they have done, and for the community itself for what you've done to contribute to the success of our college. You definitely have contributed with your tax dollars, and we greatly appreciate it. But with that said, I just care. I just care about our community. I've grown up here. I'm a dot. You know, my dad was involved here in the community. My children have grown up in this community. I've grown up in this community. I've spent almost my entire life here. I was born at KU Medical Center. And I just care. I care about Wyandotte County. I choose to live in Wyandotte County. And the only way I feel like we can make a difference is if we get involved and we get engaged. And that's why I'm here. I want to be engaged. I'm involved. I want to roll up my sleeves and do whatever we can to achieve greatness, not only for ourselves and our families, but the children that we're raising as we go. Thank you.
Let's give the candidates a hand.